Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. Today we're going to take a look at a Stihl BR600 backpack blower. Customer complaint is that ignition switch coil broke. Yeah, I don't know what that means either. So we're going to look around and first we'll take a look at the switch on the handle. It seems normal. We'll look at the cable that runs up to the power head. That seems normal. No kinks, tears, cracks, bends, breaks. What else could ignition switch coil broke mean? There you go. Here's your ignition switch coil broke. And the spark plug's loose. So I don't know if they were doing like spring maintenance. This happened right before spring cleanup season. So they're probably going to just put a new spark plug in it, get it tuned up. Or maybe something else is wrong and it doesn't want to start and they were going to investigate the spark plug. I don't know. But we're going to have to fix this problem before we can see if there's a different problem. I'm not sure what all this monkey business is here with the screws, but whatever. So there's going to be 3 fine thread screws on the starter mechanism and probably at least 4 coarse thread screws holding the orange plastic cover onto the machine. Two on the top, 2 on the bottom. The bottom ones, I mean, if you got a longer, bit driver like this, it's not bad. If you're going in there with something, I don't know, manual screwdriver type Torx bit, it could be a little bit of a pain, I suppose. So that bit was all magnetic and everything, and now it doesn't want to be magnetic when I got one stuck down in there, right? That's the way it always goes. So there we go. Pull it out with a magnet. Now the cover will come off. Things look pretty normal underneath here. There is a bit of an oily mess behind on the crank end there, behind where the starter goes. So there's already going to be a hole in this high tension lead that the terminal was punched through. And we're just going to put everything back together the way it should be, the way it was. Let's see what happens. So I'm not sure what I'm looking at inside this boot, but something's caught my attention. It looks like, based on what I'm doing there, it looks like a piece of metal might be laying in there, or something's built into the boot. I'm not sure. But it had my curiosity there for about 30 seconds, and now, whatever. So what I've found is, if we put a little bit of lubricant on that boot and then just kind of hold that terminal into the high tension lead with the pliers, we should be able to push this all back together. I didn't say it was easy. I just said this is the way we were going to do it. Alright, it looks like we got it on the wire now. And we got a little bit of an oily mess to clean up there. And then we'll want to inspect and make sure that the terminal is sitting square down in the bottom of that boot so we can actually push it over the end of the spark plug. We'll get our cover back on and get this put back together. Remember, you have coarse thread screws and fine thread screws. And these are just going into plastic. So if you're going to do this with a power tool, make sure it's one that has a clutch on it and have that clutch set at a pretty light setting. I mean, you'll just have to learn where that setting is going to be for whatever tool you're using. On this snap-on, number 3 setting seems to work pretty good for going into plastic. Yeah, that oily mess there has me a bit concerned, but again, we gotta put this thing together and see if it's gonna run. Now our starter mechanism can go back on. These are fine thread screws, so we can crank on them a little bit harder. Actually, I leave the bit driver on the same setting, and then I just crank them by hand a little bit after the fact. Now I was going to put this spark plug back in, and I thought, you know, I'm going to put a new plug in there. I'm going to let them know I put a new plug in there. Then they won't have to yank on that boot again and wreck it. And a new spark plug in this machine is certainly going to get them through the spring cleanup without any reason for them to need to look in there. But again, there might be something else wrong with this machine. We don't know yet. Now a decision is going to have to be made here. I'm going to put a scrunch on here, and I'm going to get like a quarter of a turn each stroke. And then I got to decide, well, do I want to go grab a ratchet, or do I just keep going quarter turn at a time? That's just one of life's problems in the day of a mechanic, right? We're going to go with the ratchet. Alright, once we got this thing cranked down, we're going to give it a try and see if it runs. If it does, then that's all I'm going to have for you on the Stihl BR600 ignition switch coil broke thingy-majob. Thanks for watching. Later.